Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Duality Podcast. I be Mr. Business.
It's your boy, Mr. Social. I just wanted to always rock a mask when we start off.
Yeah. I mean, I
always
get
take it off after. I don't know why. And it's a black mask.
Yeah. Sorry for the little delay. You got to deal with traffic, bad weather, but we here. What's good with you, bro?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Right off the bat, a little down. One of, guys, hip-hop icon. Rest in power to DMX. That put a little damper on things,
Yeah. That's true. I mean, we all travel that road. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
The same way we that way with the people we know that's lost. It's gonna be the same way when it's our turn.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all get a turn. You know what I mean? We all get a turn. Unfortunately, all you can do is just try to keep it moving, try to keep your head above water, man. At the end of the day.
True indeed.
Yeah.
But other than that, it been okay. You see, I got my shirt on today. I'm the football commissioner with the East Swick Cowboys. That's out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. We opened up our spring season yesterday, so football is always exciting. We went 2-1. We got 3 age levels going right now just for the spring. But, it was all right, man.
No doubt. Shout out my boy Rodney Knight. I'm wearing this little brand right here.
Okay, what's up, little bro?
Stay sharp.
Night Train.
Supporting the WIC. You know what I mean? So I'm rocking them out today. Give them a shout out. I love to see entrepreneurship, bro. I love it.
Yo,
I love it.
It get on my nerve. I'm Mr. Positive, but it get on my nerves seeing people on social media when they say, "Oh, everybody got a clothing line now," and this. Come on, man. Do y'all limit the amount of clothing lines other people are able to have, other cultures are able to have? We could sit here and run off 100 if we wanted to really list them that everybody done bought during their life. So, I'm with you because the more I love seeing it. I wish it's enough that we don't have to wear no other brands. That's how y'all should be looking. We got brothers and sisters doing sneakers and footwear now. It's mad different designs with, it's a lot of the T-shirts, but it's creative. A lot of people got creative sayings and real dope logos and different things, man. Come on, man. Stop hating.
The thing is, too, bro, I think there are more entrepreneur, black and brown entrepreneurs that we just don't have reach to. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? And because even when, Cartier came up the other week, everything she's all,
correct.
You know what I'm saying? All just
named a lot of black entrepreneurs and brands that she has.
So they out there, I'm just encouraging them to just get out there more. Get out there just a little bit more than where you at now. You know what I mean? Keep marketing, keep branding. You know what I mean? Because the
come
more
share
you do
your
that,
story on Duality Podcast.
Absolutely. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Shit, we here for it.
No doubt.
And,
it's good to see that. I love it. Like I said, I wish it kind of is. It's enough. You could go through your week, wearing all different brands that I seen. So shout out to everybody that's dropping their clothing line. I know people that's doing a lemonade drink line. There's some people doing jewelry now, bracelets. Shout out to my little sister Kia. She's doing the bracelets now.
Okay.
With the charms.
Right.
I'm hearing about people getting their notary public license, doing home improvement. Man, this point in my life, I ain't gonna lie, it's looking kind of good, man. We headed in the right direction with that.
Absolutely. We just got to stay the course this time. You know what I mean? That's one thing, man. The pandemic kind of reminds me of, unfortunately, this just the way my mind takes me. Kind of puts you in mind of the Jim Crow days. You like how they said gave us
segregation.
I'm saying they gave us lemons, we made lemonade.
It was segregation, and we had to do for ourselves and deal with ourselves.
So it was like this. COVID did the same thing.
I agree.
COVID did the same thing. COVID, listen, you're gonna sink or swim. What you gonna do?
Hey, look, let me shout out early because it's popping early. I appreciate y'all. Wow. In the chat room, happy Sunday, fellas, from Flora Cruz. Happy Sunday to you, Flo.
Better.
Cuz Kevin down there in Franklin,
Okay.
he said, my brothers.
What's good, bro?
We got Miss Michelle, Magnificent Michelle 3, down there doing her thing all the way in Lake Wells, Florida.
Okay.
Shout out to Topsy's Catering. I had some of that food when I went down there. It's awesome, yo.
Oh, no doubt. Okay.
Also, Letitia Hogan, childhood friend downtown in the building.
Absolutely.
But she is now like I might get this wrong, PhD. I know she's a registered nurse. Nope. That's way too small for what she did. I got to give her proper. I don't know. She high up there in the medical, almost like a doctor. She opened her own practice with mental health. That's what we're going to be talking about today, Tisha. Hang around, man. We're going to need your support. Yeah. Oh, okay. Look, hey, Kara. Happy Sunday, uncles.
Hey, what up, niece?
All right. I just wanted to shout out the chat room right quick. We're going to get it. This week, one of the other hot things that's going on, I did want to bring up everybody before we get into our discussion. You know, we don't have no guests this week, y'all. We going raw. Me and bruh going at it. We got some things that we said we wanted to talk about and share with y'all, hear what y'all got to say as well. But the trial for Derek Chauvin, the cop, George Floyd murder trial.
Is it the trial for Derek Chauvin, or is it the trial for George Floyd? Because, you know, it seems like they trying to make him be on trial.
Okay, hold on 1 second. You're right. I just want to get this right. Psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. That's Letitia Hogan. Grew up right downtown Elizabeth, New Jersey, and she has her own practice with that now. I didn't know that much. You know, put the name in there too, and I'll shout that out for you, Tisha. But stick around. We're gonna have a conversation in a few minutes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they definitely trying to kind of leading into what we talking about today, using a person's demons or their background to discredit his character. That basically he deserved to die, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Hours can you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, basically. I mean, just listening to the testimony of world-renowned experts.
Right.
That was saying stuff I didn't even notice. I'm thinking his foot on the ground. It's like his foot wasn't on the ground.
Right, because he's putting that pressure.
Right, but you see, like, you first look at it, you think his heel, his toe is like on the pavement. I realized, that's up in the air.
Putting even more weight.
He got his hand on his own thigh.
Pushing down even harder. That was deliberate murder.
And then when he said, you can't breathe, but you can talk, I'm like, wow. Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Like, but they making him on trial as far as what? He had a little fentanyl in the system. Granted, I ain't making no light of that. But when you look at this whole video.
In context, though, yes. I'm sorry to cut you off. Yes, it is light in context. He didn't have enough that made him go into cardiac arrest. It was because like you said, a world-renowned breathing doctor who knows all of that broke all the way down how it was the pressure on the knee to the neck, cutting off his blood oxygen for that length of time, period.
Okay, here's another thing, though. The way the defense, they tried it. And they were saying, with that much fentanyl, see, this is part of what was said, too. See, I understand what they're doing. They keep trying to harp on these little things because when it's their turn, they're going to push it all there. Because they asked the lady, actually, I can't remember her name, but they asked her, with that much fentanyl percentage and the bad heart, if somebody was in their house dead, would you call that an overdose? And it was like, yeah. So I'm saying they is trying to paint that picture that played a heavier part than what it did. Like, this is the picture they trying to paint.
Right.
I ain't saying it's right, but they keep going there.
Oh, definitely.
Right, they keep going there. Like, they going hard right there. They standing – listen, not for nothing, but I do kind of – I don't agree with it, but I understand how they stand in that pocket right there. They stand right there because they have nothing else.
That's like a
See what
guy
I'm saying? So they got to stay in that pocket.
That's like a guy get pulled over, end up getting locked up or beat up or killed, because them the three most common endings of those scenarios, and all they focus on, oh, his license was suspended.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't know, like, so how you know his license was suspended by him just driving? Did he really do an infraction and get deserved to be pulled over that started the scenario? Like, we got to start being real about stuff, man.
But look, that's like the lieutenant from the black lieutenant that's just recent, too, like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess the last couple of days. He got maced and everything before he even got out the car. And they like, you a lieutenant? Yeah, get out the car. They didn't care his army rank. They didn't care. He was fighting for his country. Even he sitting there like, why y'all doing this to me? Like, you know what I mean? But then we go rogue. We're the bad people once we go rogue. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. You tell these guys, go out here and fight for your country. Which, if you look historically, every black person that went to these wars came home still segregated. Remember, Ali won the gold medal. Came home, he still had to eat round back. Right. You know what I mean? So no matter what we do, we gonna always be considered to them, unless we change the narrative, as basically second-rate citizens, regardless.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So then the newspaper, X just happened to die on the same day. Prince William was his name? That's his name?
The Duke of Edmonton or something.
But see the paper?
Yeah.
The Prince and the rapper. But then they had this little subtitle, battle this. Like, come on, man. Like, they didn't have to do that. That was just too much for me.
Definitely not. It was a play on that. Well, I know you know. I'm just saying it. On the title of the it was a play or a book, The Prince and the Pauper. They might as well have put that.
They might as well.
Because that in comparing them to him, here's this great prince, here's this troubled figure.
But even this Prince was sitting around here, like, people don't talk about it. He was having affairs and all that old shit, too, in his early days.
And is suspected pedophilia.
Absolutely.
Actually, definitely been overt racism that he put out in statements over the years and how they act. So he wasn't exactly like. It's all about perspective. Who Prince is that? That ain't our Prince.
Yeah,
you know
that's them over there.
DMX, our Prince, if anything.
I mean, listen.
You know I'm saying in that regard, like I'm talking about how you gonna rank people. He don't mean nothing shit to us. Like,
right.
I think he's, not the greatest person.
Unless you watch the Netflix, I think it's Netflix, so it's one of them series. You don't really know nothing about him. Like, unless you watch those type of things, because like you said, what has he done that actually means anything to us?
Correct.
What has he done? I can't think of two, more or less one.
Well, a lot of times, getting into our subject of the day, all those things, like you could tie it together. That's how powerful this subject is, that the police officers, are they being really having mental wellness checks and psychological evaluations before they hired on the force? Same thing with media people. They can have their own agendas and biases and mental unstableness going into a job like that, and you're an editor of a paper, and you can make a, you know what I'm saying? I even hear them talking about, is racism a mental disease, defect? They talking about really labeling it that. But that's what we're going to get into today, is talking about, just with the death of the rapper, the good brother DMX, that and kind of his life, which played out in front of we not here judging at all, but the life that he had that played out in front of us, and how that relate to all of us. Me and him was talking behind the scenes, how that relate to all of us and what we going through mentally.
Right. Absolutely.
And we just wanted to go in. We want y'all to check in on the in the chat room.
And I found this pic right here. 99% of us is this pic.
What's the number?
You know what I mean?
Say that again now.
99% of us is this pick. Yeah. And we don't deal with the person in the mirror.
Right.
We don't do that enough.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that enough. A lot of us has that demon in some aspect that I think we don't deal with for a lot of reasons. People being judgmental is one. Is why a lot of people don't come forward when they have these issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we live in a society where, to me, trust is overrated. Because I think the way things is now, you do have to be careful of who you release to.
True.
You have to be careful. Because everybody that hugs you nowadays, everybody that hugs you, they hug you based on the principle that y'all are in good standings.
Right.
Once the standing change, now all of a sudden your business becomes this personal display.
Very
and
true.
I think this is why a lot of people have a problem with actually speaking out about what's going on with them. And I think that needs to change. Like, if I confide in you with something, I don't give a damn what we're going through. Let that stay right there. You know what I mean?
I agree 1,000%. I mean, I think that's the whole idea behind finding a random therapist to do that to, because they personally don't know you and can't come back to use that to attack you in your personal life because y'all only have that type of relationship. You know what I mean?
And then, they have laws for them.
And there's laws. Oh, yeah.
Right. Only thing about that is, just being honest, man, everybody can't afford it.
Well, what I would say is I looked into it, and my insurance personally does cover it, and I'm definitely been procrastinating to get it done, but I was gonna set up, for me to go.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
And my family.
Right. You got some insurances, that's pretty good, but then you got some that's like, no, we don't.
No, true.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, remember, historically and shit, and I hate to say it, for historically, black and brown people, we deal with things, street drugs, liquor stores, over-the-counter prescriptions. Like, we deal with stuff through self-medication.
Most of the time.
You know what I mean?
Hey, and you know what I find out? Self-medication is not just some substance, right? Sometimes it's a behavior.
True.
You have younger kids that's promiscuous early, things like that, because that makes them feel better doing that.
That is
or stealing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, I think when you talk mental health, it's so big of a scope that there's a lot of things that fall in those pockets. You know what I mean? Like, drug and alcohol abuse is one side of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some people, they have trust issues based on their upbringing. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like people getting too close to them. You know what I mean? So, mental is so many layers to it, and sometimes you just have to, figure out what slot you fall under. Because to me, we all fall inside a slot when it comes down to mental health and demons. We all fall in the slot. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Some things are brought on by traumatic experiences. And, that causes something and can stunt you emotionally or, all kind of stuff you hear. People experience different, things, and it changed them as a person. Or until you're able to get the help to work through, while you repeating certain behaviors. And, just getting older, to be honest, you're able to analyze yourself much more. But I definitely want to. I want to experience it for one, and I do want to be able to just really unload. Man, I think I got a story. I've been through a lot of stuff, dealt with it mentally, one way and another throughout my life, and yeah, man, you just wanna see, like, you know what I mean. For one, I'm kind of curious. Like, everybody act like therapy is amazing. I'm not saying I don't believe them or whatever, but like, just the growth you can get out of it. You see people much happier. They look lighter. And what I mean lighter, like they are releasing some of that stuff that's in them, you know what I'm saying, that could be weighing them down. And I'm curious and want to get to a space like that. For everybody out there, I know they say we should do this to each other on a mental health check. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that like it's no major issues going on, but I would like to be better. And I think that's one of the ways that can help me get better.
Now, here's my thing, right?
I'm going to read this chat while you're talking, too.
On average, right? On average, don't everybody say they good?
True.
See what I'm saying? Like, on average, ain't nobody going to say, oh, think about it, I'm good, right? But ain't nothing too bad. Which means, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have becoming known to be like, how you doing? Oh, I'm okay. It could be better. Okay, then if it could be better, you're not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit. Like, for me, you know, I'm almost, like you say, you curious of a therapist. I'm almost afraid. Because I got a lot of shit bottled. You know what I mean? And for me, to let it go, I don't know. It's almost for me like, I have this thing where in my mind I live through organized chaos.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, like, it's organized in my head. Like, everything be spinning out of control, but it's organized in my head the way it's going. It ain't healthy worth a damn. But at a certain point, in certain points in my life, it has served me well. There's certain points in your life where it don't serve well. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know, I do believe, you know, me and the therapist need to have a conversation at some point. It's one of those, for me, I ain't gonna lie, it's probably one of those procrastination things.
Yeah, I said I've been doing that myself.
You know?
Like I said, it is. Let me go to the chat first, because it's kind of going in what we saying. Kent Powell, what's up, Kent? Down in Philly. Bro? He said that's why they say it's better to tell your business to a stranger than somebody you know, so it can't be used against you. You know, he was talking about when we said that.
True.
Kira said, we have to break family curses. It is completely okay to not be okay. You can't keep everything buried inside. It never gets healed. And then Letitia chiming in, she said, no, don't be afraid. In order to heal and grow, we have to get it out. But we got somebody sharing one of their stories here, Flora Cruz. She said, what I can share is that therapy saved my life. I was slipping into that dark place, and I had to push past the stigma of therapy for Christian folk. Therapy only works if you are completely transparent. I would say thank y'all for your comments, and thanks for sharing that, Cruz. I would admit that part too. It's some things that, I mean, like I said, first of all, when you're getting older, you kind of learn more. You got a little wiser. So I know when you try to be transparent with yourself.
Right.
So that you would have to do that with a therapist in order for it to work, because they got to know exactly what you're feeling to help you diagnose it or whatever, right? You know, you kind of hear all that in between. I'm not no therapist or nothing. But now that you're saying that, maybe that's what I'm scared of really having to let all of it out.
Yeah.
All the thoughts, all the events and things that have happened. Man, some people don't even want to go back there, but I'm going to get to it.
Yeah. You know, like I said, bro, we known each other forever. You know what I mean? Like, we know for years, bro, I put me on the back burner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Excuse me.
Which kind of is a scary thing once you get you know, when you deal with this, then you be like, okay, there's nothing to deal with. You really start evaluating now. It's like I'm sometimes like that guy in the mirror. Like, I haven't looked at myself for years because I was too busy being the right son,
Right.
type deal. You know what I mean? That I wasn't even looking at me as the right guy, the right person, because it was never about me.
Mm-hmm.
So when all of that stuff finally leaves, and it's like, okay, it's just you now. You start looking at yourself different. You know what I'm saying? You start saying, damn, who is this guy? Hey, where he been? You know, type of deal. So it's almost like, for me at this point, it's almost feel like I'm relearning who I am.
Wow, that's deep.
Because it was never about me. Like you said, you've been around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My life was make sure pop straight, make sure mom straight. Hell, before then, make sure grandma right. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, I'll be there. I'll push myself over here for a little while. Now it's like, okay, now let me find who I am. Some days, I can be honest, some days I don't even like me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And some people, you know, I get to a place a lot of times where I disconnect. Completely disconnect. Like, I'm physically there, but mentally I'm shut off. I don't know why it gets like that, but sometimes it does happen. You know, which is why I be knowing, like, yeah, it's safe to say, you know, I need that outlet.
Yep, I definitely need it.
You know what I mean? Like you said, you know, dealing with, you know, having the kids come and,
Yeah.
you know, and it wasn't like something that you could plan for. It happened on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So even though, like I said, it seemed like for some reason our stories, even though they was different, they always kind of parallel. You know what I mean?
Dealing with things on the fly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I'm like, you know, I applaud those people, really, that actually went to a therapist and figured out
That's
what their
what's going
situation
on right now in the
was.
chat room. People telling Flora Cruz, Tisha Hogan's was telling her that was great that she took control of her mental health. Took those steps.
You know, it's true. You know what I mean?
Mindset reset is what it's called. That's what that's the clinical term.
Okay.
We got a clinical If you want to call us real quick, and you know, you could get in with this conversation with us 646-233-1302.
That sounded
646.
That sound about right.
233-1302.
That's it.
Call in. Kent Powell says most families tell you toughen up and get over it with no real clarity, while a therapist help you face it to show you that you deserve a life past that situation. Kent, I agree so much. We was talking about this as well, bro, that in our families, you know, they just tell them, you know, he a little slow, leave him alone, and this and that. Things never get addressed. People have bipolar and ADH that don't get addressed. And then it got the opposite side of it, to be honest, because, you know, I'm going to say my shit. School systems weaponizing ADHD diagnosis to medicate our children when it's not necessary. That's why we was going to a therapist independent of the school system, taking your kids if they having that behavior issues. You know, maybe that could help. I don't know. But I'm just trying to say we do that, especially in the black community, a lot, that we don't address it properly. Everybody in the whole damn family knows something wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just push it off. That's such and such. Oh, that's just how they is. Or something. Nah, something ain't right. Like, they don't supposed to act like that, you know.
True.
You know, especially at an early age. I've seen it all my life. I've seen some people to tell the truth for whatever reason, you know, God, whatever. You know, when we was young, you would think that joker crazy. And they kind of mature out of it or kind of somewhat snap out of it and turn out to be pretty productive as adults. You know, you see some people the same way. They slip. And by the time we at our age now, they, you know, you could tell that it went unchecked and it got worse and worse. I've seen all of that. So it's super important, man, that we do that. I think we got Tisha in the building. You missed the phone number. The phone number, Tisha, is 646-233-1302. 646-233-1302. And we was talking about just how family members or families, that's one of the things. And one of the big things is when traumatic things happen within the family, how we deal with it. That bring along mental issues too.
Absolutely.
Molestations, beatings and abuse, just witnessing a lot of treachery at a young age, witnessing sex, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It affects them, and it never get dealt with. Our community historically has dealt with those things not in a great way. And we got a call. Hello, you on Duality Podcast. Who's this?
Hi, Jalil. How you guys doing this afternoon?
How's it going?
I'm good. We good. How you doing, Tisha?
I'm okay. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for this platform. We need to talk about it more. We need to talk about it every day. We need our people to know that it's perfectly okay to not be okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
When you guys just talk about trauma, right? If I tell each and every one of you the traumatic events in childhood has a huge impact on your adult life. If I give you that list, just about each and every one of us in our childhood have had some type of traumatic event.
Absolutely.
It could be something that is a dog bite, a loss of a loved one unexpectedly.
True.
We don't get grief counseling.
Right.
We don't seek therapy because we're taught that we are people of color and that we're strong and we'll get through this. But it's not the case for everyone. Some people are more resilient than others.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I won't get down to the science behind the brain because most people wouldn't understand the science behind the brain. But I'll just touch just a little bit. So in our DNA, we have something called alleles, alleles. And some people have long alleles and some people have short alleles. And based on science, people who have short alleles are the people who have challenges with their mental health. And people who have longer alleles can be better with it. Meaning these two people, one with a short allele and one with a long allele, can have the same traumatic event, but they'll have different outcomes.
Right.
We all know about poverty. We all know about, everything that we've experienced in the community. And the environment and genetics play an important role too. So until we as a people start understanding that we don't need to be ashamed about seeking help, because that's that old saying within our household, what goes on in the house stays in the house.
Right.
And that's not just only in our culture. It's in the Hispanic culture too. It's in the Jamaicans, the Guyanese, whatever you want to call it. It's in their culture too.
Right.
White folks are the only ones that come out and tell you when there's something wrong with them. Why? Because they know they're going to get help and they're going to get better and they're going to be successful.
That's interesting.
That's definitely we definitely would like to have you as a guest right here. You could come here and talk about Evolve and Change, the office and practice that you've opened with mental health. You're a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, Letitia Hogan. We appreciate everything you're saying. And like you said, just by getting older and learning more things in life, right, I think this has been my excuse anyway. Oh, I'm learning to analyze myself. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know I really still need to do that. I got some things that I can say. I know there's some issues. Like, I know that haven't been
Right.
addressed in my life, and I need to get on it.
Well, you
and-
know,
and
you
I
can
am.
sit back and think. You could probably name. I personally can name, from me learning and knowing what I know now, and there's no excuse and within my family either. But I can sit here and name to you 10 families in our own community just by knowing and analyzing what I saw in my young years
Right.
that still have problems to this day.
Yep.
We're talking about 40, 50 years later.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
agree
then
with you.
when do we break cycles? We got to break cycles, and we're not doing that.
That's true.
I definitely appreciate the way you came. Some of the tidbits you said are definitely about also this being a tool to help us be successful and break those generational curses. And we're gonna have to talk off the behind the scenes so we can get you up here. All right.
All right, because I've been trying to catch you guys, but I just haven't been able to catch you. So
Hey, Lee,
I was
we
in
here
and
for you.
able to catch
Look,
you
you
guys.
caught the
on
right
Sunday
one, right?
afternoon.
You caught the right one
Yeah,
today
yeah,
too.
Absolutely.
The
yeah.
one that you're expert in, young lady.
Every Sunday I'm missing them. I see it the next day, and I'm like, oh, man, I missed it. But today I'm here, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at this. It's happening. So,
Right.
again, I want to thank you guys for doing what you do, and I'll accept your invitation to come on and talk more about this topic. It's needed more now than ever.
Right.
I work full-time in one of the poorest counties in the state of New Jersey, which is Cumberland County. I do urgent care psych full-time. My Evolving Change is my part-time business. I see probably about maybe 8 to 10 patients a week in my private practice, and it's growing. But there is a need, and I cannot tell you, when I walk up to my waiting room in my urgent care facility and I call their name and they see it's me, a black woman, they start crying right in front of me.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Are you the doctor? Oh, my God. Are you the nurse? Yes, I am. And they're just so happy to see somebody who looks like them. And it happens all the time. They cannot believe it.
We definitely
And
got to
it's
talk
sad
about
because
that.
we're out there.
Yep, we had Dr. K, Keena White, somebody we know was here in our first season. There's a couple more people. I got a cousin who majored in that at Delaware State in psychology. So, but it's definitely a need. I'm not saying that, but and you know, hopefully we can share this platform. And when we do set up the date that you come in, we'll talk about that more. We can get these people some resources that want to go in that field to study. Somebody in the chat room already saying they're going for their degree, Miss Flora Cruz. So, hey, at least we getting on it. We recognizing it, right? Ain't that the right thing to go? Right way to go?
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. We appreciate your insight.
Okay.
All right.
All
Have
right,
a
thank
good
you so much.
evening. Enjoy
Take
yourself.
care.
We'll
Take care.
talk.
Okay, thank you. All right. See you later. Bye.
All right. And also, Flora was saying how this topic, like you were saying, Kurt, it takes longer than 1 hour to dive deep into it.
It really does.
You need a whole month to discuss it fully. We probably will never be able to finish discussing it fully because the mind is infinite. So you could go on and on and on about how the mind reacts. Wow, that was deep. She brought the science and everything, right?
Yeah.
The L's. He lives.
Because, like I said, when you deal with mental health, man, it's so many subgenres involved in that. You know what I mean? Like, most people only talk about I call them the headers, you know, the big headers. You know what I mean? Like I said, everybody has, whether they want to admit it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is the key. You know, like you said, middle child syndrome, only child syndrome. You know what I mean? Like all these things.
Right.
It ain't always like drugs, alcohol. It can be simple stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people have abandonment issues. It ain't got nothing to do with drugs or nothing. You know, parents
I mean,
work too much.
we joke with this, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you hear women have daddy issues that they do,
Yeah.
you know, with male figures in their life because whatever, the male figure in their life I don't know. It was out of whack in some kind of way.
Yeah, domestic violence. You know, you see it enough in your life and shit. You think that's the standard. You know what I mean? On both sides, not just men with this domestic violence.
Right.
Some women really think getting beat is normal.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So this mental thing is deeper than just, you know, the little things, you know, those little caveats that, you know, we get. You know, it's a lot that goes on into it.
And I really do my best. Again, you see my shirt. I wasn't sure if I was going to share this story yesterday. I came across a young athlete, and you know, he just wasn't acting all the way properly that I thought anyway. And I didn't have a real good exchange with him. He was about 11 years old. And I didn't have a real good exchange with him. And I was like, I walked away, wow. And I told my colleague, because this year I've coached over 20 years, youth football. But this year with the organization I am, I'm just an administrator. I'm the football commissioner, you know, organizing with the coaches, getting the fields together, all that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, you know, kind of bragging to him, wow, I'm glad I ain't coaching now, dealing with these kids, blah, blah, blah. And he broke me down. He was like, you remember that's the kid, such and such happened. He had a super traumatic experience in his life just a couple of years ago. And, man, I felt so horrible. I was disappointed in myself because I kind of, like I said, I pride myself. That's one of the best attributes that I could look back and say, mentoring and coaching, that I was able to connect with the kids and talk to them and listen to them a lot, be real patient with them. And I wasn't yesterday. And that shifted me a little bit to make sure, because you don't know what nobody's going through. We talk about these inner demons. People have stuff done to them. They've been victimized their entire life. When you meet them, it might be at that point they so angry they refuse to ever be a victim in any kind of circumstance. Mm-hmm. So every little thing they fighting back. What? Boom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's real. That's real. He been victimized. She been victimized her entire life till they 13 or 14. Now I ain't letting nothing ride. I'm ready to pop off of you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That a lot of stuff like that happens, man. And like I said, it just reshifted me to make sure I'm staying patient. You know, I ain't gonna let no little kid run over me, but you know, it's certain ones. You get to know their backgrounds and their families when you coaching them and mentoring them, and you can't treat them all the same.
That's true.
You know, one thing I learned about coaching is like, y'all not all the same. I'm not going to treat you. There's one thing I'm going to treat you all the same. I'm going to be fair with everybody. That's the one thing across the board. But other than that, what's fair for you might not be fair for him.
Right.
Because he got a whole different situation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still being fair.
Yeah, it's kind of like you say, you know, with kids in school, everybody learn different. So some kids do require a little more, you know, understanding than the next one. So I get it. That's true. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about finding your outlet for the most part. It's about finding, like I said, for some people it's therapy, for some people it's painting, for some people it's working out. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different outlet. Mm-hmm. You just have to find what's yours. But bottling it up is not working. You know what I mean? That ain't working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everybody has to have an outlet. And this, I have no problem. You know, like, you got people that, you know, go to rehab, get off drugs and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You got people go to therapists, get off stuff, right? And like I said, this is just me, and I don't know why this shit aggravates me sometimes. If you had to go a certain route to get yourself clean, this, that, and the third, right? Mm-hmm. I applaud you. What I probably have a problem with, it's just like people that's newly religious. Mm-hmm. So now they want to make you religious the next night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like people like that. I'm like, it took you a minute to get where you going. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But those are the most fucking judgmental people ever. Somebody that just got on drugs, he judging everybody that get high now.
Right.
You know, somebody that wasn't in church, go to church. I remember when I used to be like that before Jesus got my, like, come on, with that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody has to reach a point.
Right.
You know what I mean? And whatever got you the way you're going, that's for you.
True.
You know what I mean? Stop trying to, you know, be judgy and belittle somebody else that's taking a little bit longer than you. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
And people do that too much, which at the beginning we talked why some people don't ever come out.
Right.
Because of the judgy shit. You know.
That's true.
Motherfucker, you had 2 sessions in therapy. Now you a fucking therapist. When? You know what I mean? When? You know, like all of a sudden, like, no. You have your thing that works for you. Everybody has to find their outlet that works for them. Mm-hmm. But don't judge them on it. Because ain't nobody perfect and ain't nobody getting out of this shit alive. And I think a lot of people just don't have that amount of compassion in them.
That's definitely missing today. And to me, it sounds so cheesy and corny to some of y'all, right? I don't care. Love, man. And, you know, I always say that on my pages, show some love, stuff like that. And the reason I think that, you know, in religious texts, love covers a multitude of sins, blah, blah, blah. It could because, you know, you said the word was sparking me to say this, compassion or humanity. These type of words, it seems like we moving so much away from these days. It's so hard, like, on everybody. And I think if we have those things, that's in the family of love. So you love, have enough love that you're compassionate. Have enough love so you acting humane. Have enough love so you have some patience in dealing with people, or at least understanding. You can't do nothing. I ain't no therapist. I can't do nothing to help you or nothing.
Right.
But at least I can understand a little better where you coming from, and I ain't just ready to like, oh, this crazy motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy, like I did. That little badass kid, man, I'm glad I ain't coaching no more. Like, you know what I mean?
True. And you can't be a narcissist about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you're listening to somebody. Sometimes, like they say, you have to listen to just listen.
True.
You know what I mean? Like if you cut your finger and you say, bro, I cut my finger on the thing, the next thing come out of my mouth is, yeah, I remember that time back when I was working at such and such and I cut my finger. Right. Like, what the fuck? like how did we go from here to here? Ooh. You see what I'm saying?
You preaching to him now, cuz. Preach.
This is for the most part why
preach, y'all.
I stay out the way.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I got to stay out the way because I know my temperament. I know my attitude. I ain't blessed with patience, and my tolerance is even worse. So I stay my ass in my little corner, my little circle, and I sit right over there. You know what I mean? Because I learned that if I say something, one or two things going to happen. Either somebody going to compare the story or they're going to pick inside that story what makes sense to them. And my thing is, first of all, it's my fucking story. Let's be clear. It's my story.
Right.
I'm the author of this book. There is no subs. I'm the author. Sometimes you just want to release. It happens. But if you can't feel comfortable releasing, this is when people put themselves in a bubble.
Right.
And that happens way more than people talk about. That's why when somebody unexpectedly died, you're like, I didn't know they was... There's a reason for that. What's that, Chadwick Boseman?
Right.
Colon cancer. Nobody knew. There was a reason for that. See what I'm saying? You know, Robin Williams, comedian, and the next thing you know, he commits suicide. People are like, I didn't know he had these things. There's a reason for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can't feel comfortable enough to be open enough, then shutting down is your only option. You know what I mean? It's sad to say. It's your only option because you can't feel comfortable enough or open enough to release it.
I think there's one more thing in there that I think, I could be wrong. They be saying that's what it's showing out or the acting out, doing random acts of violence or,
could be.
You know, me personally, I'm going to tell you what my self-medication was always to fun it away.
Right.
I could have so much responsibility, things to do, get on my mind. That's one of the things I share. Not just whatever comes with fun, partying, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just fun it away.
Right.
Girls, this and that, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, I always just want to have a good time, and then everything will be all right. Even though after that party, after that get-together, shit's still right there, you know what I mean? But I really would try to fun things away. Like, I still kind of do that. But.
Like, my vice, sleep. Out of sight, out of mind, sleep. You know what I mean? Like, Tyler tells me all the time, damn, you woke? Yeah, I sleep. Just sleep. You know what I mean? Because I feel the longer I would sleep, the less I had to see.
My defense mechanism. She said, Letitia said, those are my defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I really have learned over the years how to shut myself down. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking science. I'm saying for real. Like, you know, people are like, damn, he just cut off in a minute. Yeah, I would. You know what I mean? I'm like a real light switch.
Tisha, at times, alcohol and drugs was involved, you know? Not just all the time that, what I'm saying, it was like that was part of the fun is what I'm saying. But it was definitely alcohol and drugs involved.
Oh, yeah. That's why people think I be playing when I always say, man, you did more shit at 18 than people do at 50.
Believe it. Y'all stay tuned. Maybe over the episodes, y'all can hear what happened. But
one day the shit gonna come out. Like, I mean, we did a lot of stuff
early. And I know in itself, that's traumatic.
Exactly.
Bruh,
because we both had a moms that worked.
Yep.
And we just ran free.
Listen.
To a certain, you know what I mean?
I'm 10 years old, dude shooting up in the hallway.
Yeah.
12 years old, you seeing, you know, robberies and shootings and people actually getting murdered. When you see that, up until you know, that's just not normal. But we had to make it normal, even though, I mean, that's what was said. We had to make it normal. Bruh, I'm been shot before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can name 10 guys growing up that have probably at least sat in the house and had a cup of Kool-Aid or a plate of food that been shot.
Right.
And we act like that shit is normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. You know what I mean? That's why I say, man, we did quite a lot. You know, we seen too much early.
Off the porch,
you know,
early.
Like you said, Big Drew OD in the, you know what I mean, third court.
Right.
I'm 13, 14. I'm carrying a body bag from the third floor into the corner. I shouldn't be doing that kind of shit. But I looked at death differently from that point. Then you fast forward a couple of years, boom. Lil Drew died. So for me, it seemed like everything that I've ever attached myself to, I had to watch it die. That creates something in you. You know what I mean?
Hey man, this thing deep. We want to shout out Evolving Change, Letitia Hogan again for calling in. That was some great information, and we're gonna get together. Maybe we have like a, you know, chime in regularly type thing at one point. Because it's definitely something that we all could use. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Y'all had it going crazy. We appreciate it in a good way. Everybody was interacting. Share this. Y'all could go on our page, Facebook, which you're watching right now. We got over 30 episodes, man. Go back and watch. It's a lot of fire shows. Great information, entertainment, and informative.
Yeah, check this out. You know what I mean?
So
every week, man, when we come on, just hit the share button. That's all you need to do.
5 to 6. You got 1 hour of your Sunday evening to get some real good perspective in from different perspectives. Everybody, you know, don't think the same, and we encourage that. We embrace that. We want everybody to bring their own perspective to this thing, to this conversation.
And we're going to have our therapy sessions live every Sunday.
You heard?
Y'all ain't doing that shit.
Nah, I'm not no therapist, but somebody done did something. He told me to do it.
Yeah, start crying.
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank y'all for tuning in to another great episode of Duality Podcast. I'll be Mr. Business.
Of course, it's your boy, Mr. Social.
And we out of here.
Peace.
Peace.